Okay, let's go.
Hello there, Chick Chatters. We are back with Teen Mom, the next chapter, chapter 1.
One of the chapters.
We got 2 chapters for you. We're going to cover both 1 and 2 because honestly, 1 was just a nothing burger. It was just Jade's wedding with a nothing burger attached to it. So there's not much to talk about with it.
We're kind of experimenting a little bit with how we want to cover this season of Teen Mom. So yeah, leave us your thoughts. I can't say that we'll follow them, but we're curious to hear what anyone thinks.
Yeah, normally we go by the events of the episode, the way the episode shows it, but we're going to do something different. We're going to go by girl. So we're going to start off Cheyenne and what she's been dealing with these first 2 episodes. So her main storyline right now is that Zach wants a baby, and they started this storyline back in the Family Vacation, which if you haven't caught that season, go ahead, watch it. It's actually worth a watch. It's pretty decent compared to the other seasons for sure, because I barely watched those, but I did watch all of this one, and we covered it. So if you want to even check out our recaps, go ahead. I'm going to plug those in right now. Cheyenne is not really for having this baby because it's alleged that this girl got her body done, and I wouldn't really be wanting to have a baby right now either. She's like, I like my body the way it is right now. And I'm like, I would too if I just paid a whole new body.
Yeah. Zach thinks that that's selfish. It could be. I also feel like he's just asking for a baby because he wants a child that looks like him. So I don't know how selfless that request is either. So I think they're both being a little selfish. Isn't that what creating life is? I mean, nobody just like pops out of thin air and is like, I would like to be born and taken care of. No, this is something everybody decides to do because they want to do. So they're probably both right. They're probably both being selfish, but that's allowed.
Well, I'll give Zach a point where guys can't physically have a baby, so they really do depend on their partner for that, because if their partner ain't going to have a baby, then they ain't going to have a baby. They can't do it on their own. Like if Dean could have had a baby by now, he would have probably had 3, but we have 0 because I have to have the babies. I don't know. I get him in that way, but in the other regard, where Cheyenne's at is Zach has not been putting his best foot forward when it comes to having a job and being a source of security. This man, when he was looking up stuff later about careers and everything, he's looking up fireman and electrician. These are
he sounds like a 17-year-old boy Googling what career path might I take. Dude, you are in your 30s, right? He's in his 30s, I would imagine. You have children, you live in a place that people would dream about living in, and you're over here wondering if you want to be an insurance salesman or a firefighter, get your EMT. Like, all of those things are fine and well, but it just feels so off. I found myself wondering as they're sitting in this gorgeous house, and I know where it is in California. I'm like, what does he think he's going to contribute as far as stability or financial security being a firefighter? Again, all the power to him. We need firefighters, but this man lives in Calabasas in a gated community. What do you think you're contributing to the mortgage with that? Even if you're a firefighter in Calabasas,
I don't have fires out there, but I don't know if it's like
those are volunteer firefighters, the ones who fight the wildfires.
A lot of firefighters are volunteer, so I'm not sure what he's thinking there. I just don't know why this man doesn't consider being a salesman at all of any kind.
Sell a yacht a month and you'll be fine. Like, that's what this man needs to do.
I'm confused.
He can even get his little, finessing in on the side, because we all know he's a professional finesser, so he could just get that allegedly. He could just get that going on the side. But yeah, he needs to sell some kind of expensive luxury something to people. I think real estate is just a lot, but I mean, I don't know what it takes to sell a boat. Maybe it takes more. I'm just over here dreaming of being rich.
I feel like he could get a realtor's license, car salesman. There's so many other luxury.
He could be a firefighter as well. It just feels so 17-year-old boy, just so immature that you have no idea still at this point. And yet you're asking this woman to have another whole baby with you, and you don't even know what your life path is going to be like. Sure, you can say that Cheyenne's being selfish about what her needs are, but at least she knows what it is that she wants. This guy's just over here aimless and listless. Like, just make a baby for me. Like, how can it be so hard? Find a job. How can it be so hard? Come on.
Yeah.
I'm a little frustrated with that.
Well, he's got to take a page out of his best friend Sean's book. If y'all are both going to be unemployed with your women, at least don't ask for a baby on top of it, because then she might ask you to get a job.
Don't rock the boat here.
Don't rock your boat. Yeah, and then the thing with that is, and Cheyenne made me roll my eyes so hard that just because this man is looking up facts, she's like, oh, maybe I'll consider having a baby. I'm like, don't make it this easy for him. All he did was have to look a couple things up, and now you're thinking about having the baby. And anyway, my girl, no.
And it kind of bothered me because Cheyenne ended up talking to both of her parents about this in separate situations. And I think her parents gave good feedback, with the exception that her mom said, what, like 30 was too old to have a baby or something. And I was like, all the millennial women in the world just totally cringed, because we're all waiting until that age. So, but we do find out later when she goes to the baby doctor. When she goes there, we do find out that she's perfectly fine until at least 35, 36, and she can even freeze her eggs at that point. That those eggs would be fine to freeze. So, I mean, that's pretty much all we get from Cheyenne. I think you and I both talked about this off of camera, but it seems like maybe she could be alluding to some kind of surrogate story or something like that. I know she's just starting off with the idea of freezing her eggs, and maybe it will just sort of end there for now, but
she keeps hinting at other options, wanting to keep her body as is, and it's just what makes sense to me. I feel like this is a setup for a surrogacy plot. I've been thinking this since episode 1, but I don't know. With how easy she flipped on Zach when he was just looking up blurbs about what he needed to do to get into 2 careers. He didn't even have to go get the careers. She was just fine to think about options before he even went to get the careers, just the fact that he was thinking about the careers. And I'm sorry, it was a little bit lame. I was just like, man, the guy got on the computer at a normal, decent hour of the day, and you're just excited about that. Like, what are you doing?
Honestly, and that shows to me how little this man really must be doing for her to be like, okay, maybe we can have another baby if he's just thinking about being a firefighter.
Anyways, moving on from Cheyenne, we see Ashley for a little bit. There's not much to say about her other than she is back, even though it's been rumored that she's not going to be back, but maybe they just mean for the next season.
They never have her on the check-ins that they have at the beginning of the episode. They have everybody else. They even have McKenzie join. They are following her story. But her story is tired, and I'm tired of it. Bar's doing Bar things. Ashley's doing Ashley things. I will give her credit for her daughter. The conversation she had with Holly, I think, was a little vague. Like, I feel like if she wasn't going to explain things in a way that's, it has to be age appropriate, of course, but she didn't even really explain things. She was just like, cheers to Girls' Day sometimes when we want to. It's just kind of vague and weird.
She's dreading it.
Totally. Well, Holly does adore her dad, and it's not like she's not gonna see her dad any less than she's seeing her dad. I mean, right now he lives in a completely different state. I don't think it's gonna affect them a lot in the short term, but obviously in the long term, Holly's gonna have to go back and forth. But who knows? Bar and Ashley could be back together next season, next year, in a decade. I feel like those two are just always gonna.
They obviously will because of their daughter, but who's to know? The thing with Ashley and Bar is that they're getting divorced because he's been cheating and he's really not even staying there. I think we all kind of saw a divorce at some form coming, but I think we all thought it was going to come from Ashley. Just being over it and over him not progressing. Like, that's all we see Ashley for in these first couple episodes. So I'm not sure what her storyline is going to entail, other than probably just this divorce from Bar. We're going to go to Catelyn, and she's still not talking to April, and that's been a huge issue with her and I guess her kids. Her and Tyler have a conversation about it, and I really liked their conversation. She starts talking about the issues with April, and she was wondering how the kids are feeling, and he's like, well, Nova's smart. Why don't you ask her? And I was like, such a therapist. He's still such a therapist.
I mean, he's been through a lot of therapy. I think he has that therapist voice in his mind now. So he's obviously making a lot of healthy decisions. It's great that Kate and Ty have each other to lean on to be able to do these things, because it's so different when it's you that's going through it. You can know logically for someone else on the outside how to approach a situation, but if you're feeling all the emotions and all the fears and all the irrational thoughts that happen when it's you that's going through a situation, it's hard to see what the best options are. So the fact that they can both be so emotionally intelligent and vulnerable with each other. I think it just opens up so much space for growth for them, but mostly for their kids and their children's children and things like that. I just think they have such a cool relationship. And I know Anne and I were talking earlier before filming about Ty's OnlyFans situation and things like that. But imagine the amount of trust. I know that Kate is the one that runs all of that, but to put your husband's body out there like that and for your husband to trust you to do that, especially with, I think Tyler has been through SA as a child. I just feel like there's a lot of empowerment that they probably get out of this funky little OnlyFans situation between the two of them. I'm very intrigued.
Side note, Chick Chatters, we were literally on his OnlyFans page, and then Catelyn was active on it. So all three of us were on there at the same time.
She was. If you just like want to go peep it on Google, don't have to download the app or anything, nor do you have to subscribe to see the banner of all banners. just go look for yourself.
Yeah, we just wanted to see what it's set up. We're just curious of this up. I do not know how to use OnlyFans, so we were like, what is it even
We want to
like?
see how much the subscription was. We learned it's $30. We are not subscribed, but we'll keep you.
No, I'll let you know. Anyway, so our conversation with Nova was interesting for sure.
I wish Tyler would have been there because, again, when it's you going through the emotions, it's harder for you to think clearly. And I know that Kate's goal going into that was to try to support Nova's relationship with her mom. And I feel like she just saw Nova, and I don't know if she was triggered or what by the questions that she was asking, but she just started spilling information more than supporting the relationship, and I felt like it created an even bigger wedge between Nova and Kate's mom. And I'm not trying to give Kate's mom any extra grace or anything, although she has a disease. She is an alcoholic. She is not well. She's not okay at all. But I understand that Kate needs to protect her kids from that. And the fact that Nova was like, Grandma fell asleep in the bathtub one time, how terrifying and dangerous, and that Nova felt weird and was scared. That is something you absolutely have to protect your children from, no question. But I feel like if Tyler was there, he could have helped to steer the conversation where it needed to go. Whereas I feel like Kate was just sort of triggered by her own trauma with her mom, and Nova was having the same questions that Kate had when she was younger, and she responded to it all well. She was so supportive and nurturing and held her and supported her.
There was moments as a child, Nova thinks that her grandmother is drinking and choosing to not see her, and you know what I mean? Like she's choosing the alcohol over her
instead of about her
right.
grandma.
Like why won't her grandma stop drinking to see her? And she doesn't understand that it's a disease. She doesn't understand that part of it, that it's harder for her grandma to choose to stop drinking. And then Kate like responded with, I don't know. She didn't really reassure her very well. She just indulged in her misery with her.
That's why I feel like she had to have been triggered in that moment. And I just wish that Tyler was there to keep the conversation focused, because I don't think Kate did anything wrong. She supported her daughter well, but she divulged too much information. It could have very much been the reason Grandma's not around and you don't go to Grandma's is because of things that are going on between her and I, and hearing about what happened in the bathtub. That's why I'm keeping you safe and keeping you away. But if you miss her, you can call her, you can text her.
Yeah, that's what I was waiting
on your
for.
iPad. That's why I'm like, I wish Ty was there, because he would have helped to keep that focus. Instead, as soon as Nova started crying, then Kate just was flooded with emotions.
Tyler even talked to Kate about it. He mentioned when you talk to her, just ask her how she's feeling. Also let her know she can call her grandma. So if he would have been there, I'm sure he would have offered the call. And that's what I was waiting for, is the offering of the call. Call your grandma.
Instead, I feel like she made Nova not want to talk to her grandma on her own with information that she can't fully grasp yet. So I feel like, yes, Kate made a mistake in that conversation, but I don't hold that against her at all. I think she did good at supporting her daughter emotionally, but not really what she intended to do.
She ain't no Amber up in here.
No, she was gentle and patient and loving and reassured Nova how amazing she is, and that people who don't want to be in her life don't deserve to be in her life, and that's fantastic. I don't think all of that needed to be put on
much. So switching gears, we're gonna go to McKenzie, and she is back to the series.
For some reason, I'm excited. I can't believe that.
It's because she warmed us up with Family Vacation. Had they not put her in Family Vacation and I didn't watch that, I'd probably be more like, McKenzie. But I already know her. I already know Cassano from Family Vacation. If I didn't know Cassano from Family Vacation, I might be a little bit more like, what's up with this guy coming in here?
That's how we felt on Family Vacation. Their first episode, I'm like, who is this guy? How in that world has he not heard about the problems with this girl and ran for the hill? But I don't know, they just pleasantly surprised me last season, so I am really excited to see them. I'm excited to see their journey, and we recently learned that they're engaged. Congratulations to them.
Going back to the episode, she tells us about her status with Josh. Basically, Josh don't really see his kids. I don't think he really pays no child support, no mind, no nothing. Josh is back in Missouri, Montana, Louisiana, wherever the hell McKenzie came from. He's in one of them.
Alabama.
He's in one of them. He's in somewhere. Her dad flew in for her daughter's surgery, but Josh could not even be bothered.
Nowhere to be found. We didn't hear nothing from him. I know they don't show everything, but I'm sure she would have. I don't know.
I just feel like Josh barely spoke a word ever in his life. So I just don't see it. I don't know.
I don't know how he's out here cheating on McKenzie. The man doesn't even speak. And when he does, he's never pleasant. And I get that he said he was worried about being on camera and all of that, but no, he's just
making it worse.
A personality.
Yeah.
Don't let his woman be free.
No, he don't let his woman be free. We see Cassano and his interactions with the kids are just a 180 compared to Josh in his own kids. It's just crazy.
Explaining the specific bone that was broken too.
It's like he's worked with kids or something before. I don't know. I only see green flags with this guy. Him and Jalen are just wholly different. Jalen was giving me scammer. I don't know what's going on with you. I think I gave him the benefit of the doubt the first few episodes of him, but then I was like, he's got full photos of these girls on the wall, and
which is like weird,
strange. Yeah, he was just strange. He was just being strange. Because I know I feel like it's more organic and it's more genuine for some reason, and I don't know. Maybe it's just the vibe, or maybe I'm wrong, but I hope I'm not. I just feel good about him.
I do too, and I respect the fact that he is helping out financially in a home that he's not living in. I think eventually in the season he does end up moving in.
He moved in this episode.
Oh yeah.
She brought with him was one rolly suitcase in a box, and I don't know if that's all he had, but I was like, where was he before?
This guy. Well, doesn't he play soccer? And
yeah, I feel like what was in the box was all of his soccer trophies, because that's what they did, was they just like lined up all his trophies. And this man probably was already living here, and they had to pretend that he wasn't.
Probably pretty close to it. Had to make a thing about it, maybe for her dad, so it would be proper. Speaking of her dad, he was golden smile cheesing at Cassano when her dad was like, well, I've seen her be hurt before, but I don't think that's gonna happen here.
He was so cute. He's so cute. I'd be happy as hell too to see anybody but Josh there, but you know, that's just me. So then we go over to Leah, and we didn't see Leah at all the first episode, maybe at Jade's wedding.
I don't even think she came to Jade's wedding.
I don't know. Oh no, she's the only one that didn't go to Jade's wedding. So much going on here. And well, they show us that Leah is serving. She's got a serving job. She is having a hard time finding a job under a broker, which to each their own. Good. I'm glad she's doing something. I don't knock it. She looked good doing it too. They got to do something, because some of these girls owe the IRS a ton of money. I think Leah's even one of them. And they get paid per episode. Leah don't got that much drama going on right now. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, and you can make some good money serving. So I don't blame her at all. I'm sure eventually her realtor stuff will kick in for her, and she'll be able to do that. It's hard.
It takes a while to build a clientele, especially in real estate. People only buy a house every 5 years if you're lucky. Mostly people buy a house like every 10, 15 years. And you only buy a house maybe 3 to 5 times in your lifetime, unless you're some kind of like flipper or something.
She's also in West Virginia too. Like, I feel like Zach would have a better chance.
Yeah, the commission there is probably not
great. So who knows? But Leah's storyline this episode, and probably for a few episodes, is going to be about her dad. And her dad is detoxing. Her sister came over to talk to her about giving her dad a chance. And that she knows that Leah has been through what she's been through with him, but please give him a chance. I could see both sides of that. Like, she was kind of swaying me a little bit, but I'm like, Leah also has to set her own healthy boundaries and maybe wait till this
Mhm.
man actually detoxes before Leah
Well,
has to.
Leo wasn't wrong. He can go straight to detox. He don't need to be at somebody's house. I get that he wants to get his affairs in order, and it's nice that sister is willing to open up her house, but she does need
Mhm.
to not be naive. And sure, if he's allowing him to use right now, if he's going to detox and he's not detoxing right now, then he's using in some way, shape, or form. And that's around her kids. And so it's a lot to bring someone who has struggled like that, especially for so long, into your home, even if it's your parent, even if it's for
Right,
a matter of days. You just never know what's going to happen. So I
right.
think Leah's totally right to do that. But I also think if her dad is in recovery, an active recovery in any kind of way, she should try to support him. Unless the
Yeah,
relationship at that point goes south, then yeah, you cut ties again. But everyone is a completely different person when they're sober.
I can commend the sister on what she's doing. I mean, like,
Yeah.
everybody's got their own relationship with their parent. If you really wanna, do your best with them, and if it don't work out, it don't work out, whatever. I can commend her for doing that because I'm sure nobody else is helping this man, and she probably feels like
I
she is
think
his last lifeline, but
her sister is a softie. Leah has hardened by life.
right, and this guy did used to indulge in the same stuff together, and I'm sure she's semi-triggered by him in ways. So, I can see where Leah's also coming at. I'm on the fence about this because I don't think it was super necessary for Leah to have to be there when he went into detox. I feel like maybe that would have been more meaningful for her to be there when he came out of detox. But
I really like that she offered that. I think it was a compromise because I think Leah would have preferred to not see him until he's sober. But I think he was trying to also compromise with that her dad
Victoria,
is doing something meaningful and that he's
yeah.
actually going into rehab. And so I think it was nice for her to agree to walk him in because that kind of support can be really motivating.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna say you're gonna give him some motivation.
yeah. My daughter that I haven't talked to in years is walking me into rehab. That's a huge motivator. I think she had talked about how she feels strong enough now in her recovery to support him.
Mhm.
And that is part of recovery. Yes, you have to support yourself before you can support anybody else, but it's also part of recovery to help other people into recovery. So I think it could be really healing for them if everything goes well, but
Mhm.
you just never know.
I do like that she set a clear boundary with him in that
And she was
conversation too.
still consistent with him even while he's
Mhm.
walking into rehab. This is still how I feel.
And she looked good too. She looked like she was ready to go
So
to a damn
cute.
business meeting.
She looks so cute ever since she got rid of Jalen. Her hair seems lighter, not lighter in color, but just lighter and flowier, and she does her makeup good. Her little nose is so cute and precious.
So going over to someone else with a cute and precious nose, we'll go see Jade. Jade is having her wedding, and the only time we see her in these two episodes, so she's prepping for a wedding. They just came from Colombia. I don't know where the hell they've been stashing Chloe at, but we finally see her.
And then we learned that 3 days after their wedding, they're going on their honeymoon. I think they said that in the
You know,
family reunion thing, but
I forgot to mention this when we were going over family reunion, but when they were at family reunion, the last episode, they said that they were only a couple days away from the wedding. And I was like, you guys are less than a week from the wedding and you're in a whole different country. And where's
yes,
your daughter? So Sean had to replace a groomsman with Devon.
Savoyne.
Oh yeah, Devoyne. And they make a whole scene about calling Brianna to ask if it was okay if she walked with them. It's like, girl, just put her next to the bridge. You don't have to ask nobody if it's okay for them. It's just walking
And
up an
Brianna
aisle.
had the perfect bridesmaid response. You could tell me to walk with the damn troll down the aisle. It's like 5 steps.
I was just
Not a
telling you
big
a story the other day about how when I had to be the pastor at Carly's wedding, the dude had to walk with a dog instead of me because that turned out. So, I mean, you do what you got to do to get up that aisle. And it was a beautiful wedding. Everybody was wearing black. So, all the pictures from this wedding are so beautiful. It looked so classy in the photos. It was beautiful.
You know what photo
$45,000 over budget for sure.
you
Gonna
know
do
what
it
photo
yourself.
is not gonna be classy is the damn photo of her walking down the aisle with Amber's troll ass creeping up behind her because she's late.
She pulled a full
I
Kim and Kanye pretty much when they showed up late to Chance the Rapper's wedding, and they were all over the news for a while for walking in while these people were at the altar. And then
I feel like that is the best time, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I would appreciate some chick chatters to share their opinions. Maybe you feel differently. I don't know, but I feel like the best time if you're coming into a ceremony late is to come in after the bride and groom have gotten to the altar and they're joining hands and things are starting.
yeah,
Because yes, it might cause a disruption amongst the crowd, but most people are looking forward at that point. What Amber did was awful. Everybody is looking at the bride. That is the moment you want photographed. And this bitch is straight up just fucking behind her, just trying to cower. Like, it. No, my skin is crawling, and I haven't even got to the worst Amber part yet.
And I think Gary was behind Amber too, so you got them both coming in. I think he went to go get her.
And his weird little hat.
How disrespectful to be just coming in like this. And when you're in an outside wedding, it's a lot harder to disguise that you are late than an inside wedding. Inside, you come in from the walls and like
you can slither. You can crawl on the ground if you needed. No, there's
along the wall.
When you're outside, like you're gonna break a twig.
Open.
If you're in heels, you have to.
It's just an open area too, and people can obviously see you walking up from whatever direction.
There's nowhere to hide behind. I think there was a tree they were trying to hide behind for a second, but again, they came in. I'm not saying seconds behind Jade. They were like
with her. Yeah. They could have at least waited a little bit till she got to the altar. She was like behind her. I don't know. And Amber was also a hot mess at this wedding because she was looking up with a girl. Like,
I was like, did you pop a Molly, Amber? What is going on here? She had the O faces going on. I don't know if she was singing the song. We all go to the bar and we get all into it, but I've never I guess at your wedding I was probably pretty crazy, but I still wasn't.
Like, she was all on this girl. She was pulling a full Dina and Snooki Jersey Shore.
A whole lady home.
She went home with her.
I don't know who that girl was. Like, how does that girl know Jade and Sean?
I don't know. I have a lot of questions too. I wish they would have answered that Zoom call because they had a little Zoom call with everybody. And when Amber showed up late, which she's always late to everything, and that's just a little premonition for the rest of the freaking episode. But they're like, did you go home with that girl? And she's like, yeah. And then they're getting McKenzie in the call. And all of a sudden, Amber has this man sit down next to her. And Cheyenne's like, wait, who is that man?
Amber is just so inappropriate all of the time.
And they never met this man before. All of a sudden, he just shows up and they're like, who the fuck? What the fuck? And she's like, this is my boyfriend. And I was so Cheyenne. I kept watching her during this little Zoom call because she's just cracking her ass up. They were just talking about Amber hooking up with a girl at this wedding, and then she's got a whole boyfriend here whose name is Gary.
I know.
And they're like, hopefully it's better for you the second time.
And Chick Chatters, we learned the day that this episode dropped, episode 2, that Amber is also now engaged to Gary 2.0.
See, I didn't even know that. Stop. Okay, whatever.
They're engaged.
I'm about to pop off about Amber now. Now those are fighting words.
We are about to pop off.
This episode is basically a shrine to how horrible of a mother Amber really is. I just can't. Like, I've been watching this woman neglect this child her whole life. Gary calls Amber to have dinner for Leah for her birthday. And they went to this restaurant that I've seen Amber at. And I swear this is the same restaurant that Leah followed Amber to the bathroom and was like, I just want to spend as much time with you as I can because I never know when I'm going to see you again. And that shit broke my heart. So I watched this girl been neglected by this woman this whole time. Amber says on this call, has the audacity to be like, 3:15? Okay, I definitely won't be late. Do you think this?
Wait a minute. I have to ask, why does people keep asking how Amber's going to get places? Does she not have a car, or does everyone know she's on drugs? Because every time Amber has to go somewhere, she had to go to this wedding. Everyone's always like, how's she going to get there? Is she taking an Uber? Does she have a car service? Does this girl think she's the Queen of England, or can she not drive? What's going on? Does everyone know she's on drugs and so they don't want her to drive? Or does she not have a car? Or what is going on? Why doesn't anyone explain this to us?
She's in Indiana too, so you need a car to get around. I don't know if she lost her. I don't know why she would lose her license though. I don't know.
I don't know if she's on too many medications to be able to be. I don't know, but everyone's always concerned about how is she going to take an Uber, blah blah blah. Why can't this woman drive her? This woman is so effing incapable, and I understand that she suffers from mental illness. I don't think she's helping herself. I just
she likes being incapable.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of times it's difficult for people to recover because they have this huge support system in place. Amber has Gary. Amber has Christina parenting her other parent. She's got dude in another state. Her life is easy. She was up on the camera thing. Oh, I'm going to see my daughter this week for her birthday, and then my son's gonna come visit me. What a busy week. That is the life of every single parent in the world. Times 10. Every day you're with your kids. You're over here like, I'm gonna see both my kids this week. Oh, it's gonna be so difficult.
Well,
Stop it.
it's just like the
Stop it.
one summer where she bragged about seeing Leah only like once or something, and I'm like,
Get
this
over
is
it.
not the
I'm
flex.
so over Leah. I'm like so angry. And yeah, we haven't even gotten to the angry part.
So Amber promises to be on time for this dinner and then has the audacity to show up at least an hour or more late. I'm guessing an hour and a half late because they said 3:15. Gary calls her a little after 4 and says, I got here over an hour ago at 3:15 when I told you, where are you? Oh, I'll be there in 15 minutes. I imagine this man hung up the phone and then waited another 10-15 minutes before they ordered food. But even if he ordered food right away, it probably takes about 20 minutes in a normal restaurant to get your food. And this girl showed up when the food was coming out at the exact same time, and he's like, oh, you didn't have to wait for your food. You could just tell Gary was already annoyed, and I think Gary might have an inkling that Amber is on some things because he seemed extra annoyed with her.
I think he was manipulating and stirring a little bit. I think he knows what buttons to press and how to act. Again, he was well within his rights to do that, but
you could tell she shows up late for every dang thing, and I just think this man has his moments where he just can't take it with her. Like,
well, because everybody has to walk around eggshells with her. They all sit there and they wait. Oh, how long do we think Amber's going to make us all sit here and wait? And then she shows up, and if we act anything but kind and polite and happy to see her and act like she's the whole star of the show, even though it's not her birthday, then she's going to throw a fit. It's like every time she's around, everyone has to bend to Amber's will and do everything that Amber wants to do. It's like you are supposed to be a mother. You are supposed to turn yourself off, essentially, and focus in on your daughter. The way that she even greeted Leah, she never even told her happy birthday. She walks up and she says, my 15-year-old. How selfish can you be? She's not yours at all.
She's calling her like boo boo and shit when she's getting ready. I'm gonna go see boo boo. And I'm like, this girl is 15 and she just probably triggered by you calling her boo boo. She walked in with a full toot anyway. She did not walk in pleasant. She was so weird. You can't tell me this girl is not on something or her meds ain't messing with her mind because she was so strange, awkward, weird. Her conversations were weird.
It's just so effing self-absorbed. And the fact that she turned and looked at Leah and said, oh, you're 15 now, so you're really going to need me because you're about to get really crazy. I'm telling you, I know that she says a lot of terrible things in the following conversations we're about to speak on. I think this is the worst thing that she said to Leah on camera ever. The fact that she is going to project all of her own mental illness and issues onto Leah, who is perfectly adjusted, has 2 loving parents in a home that she knows cares for her, has everything that she wants and needs. And the only bad thing in this girl's life is her own mother, who is trying to tell her right now, oh, you're really going to need me now because here comes my genes to F your life up.
Well,
no.
On top of that, you don't think this girl needed you 15 years ago? In the last 15 years before? This is the one time she's gonna need you now? Now she's gonna need you after 15 years?
Now to give you guidance on how to be a crazy person? No.
You don't think she needed you at 2 years old or 3 years old or 5 years old or 7 years or 12 or what? Sorry, no. And she's got Christina, who's literally sitting across the table cringing this entire damn meal. I could not stop looking at her. She was trying to remain as neutral as freaking possible, and that's just by not talking. She's very good at just not saying anything around Amber at all.
I'm telling you, that woman has the patience of a goddess because I also feel like what is the point of sitting there arguing with her? She is totally best to sit there and be quiet, but I don't think I could do it. I would have to get up and at least walk away dramatically several times because I just wouldn't be able to breathe. I would have to go somewhere else to breathe. Amber talking about sarcasm at the dinner table and is basically blaming Leah for being sarcastic and bringing out the sarcasm in Amber, and she's trying to explain all of this away. She's essentially pointing with her finger at this girl is sarcastic and she brings it out in me. Then she calls her a dick for not caring about her boyfriend. Leah's response to her boyfriend was, I'm scared. And she called her a dick, a dickhead, whatever. Any 15-year-old's response to their mom's boyfriend is going to be less than pleasant. I can promise you that. And the
Yeah.
fact that she's gonna say, "I'm scared," whether that's sarcasm or not, a mom needs to ask why or say something reassuring, not to call her a dickhead. Leah will never be safe with Amber. Not emotionally safe, not physically safe, not anything.
I knew that the day she let that stranger change Leah's
Change her
diaper.
diaper.
The moment I saw that, I was like, this girl
That's
isn't.
probably why she's scared. Her mom has a new boyfriend.
So then Gary and Amber start going back and forth a little bit, and it's upsetting Leah. She starts to turn away from Amber towards her little sister and start crying. Her little sister is so sweet. She's just patting her on the back and trying to comfort her. And I'm like, this kid has more emotional intelligence than Amber right now. This 6-year-old, 7-year-old child has more emotional intelligence than Amber. Gary's starting to apologize to Leah while he's continuously arguing with Amber. He's like, I'm sorry, Leah. Pretty much, fuck you. Sorry, Leah. And then Amber's like, why are you apologizing to her? And I'm like, girl, this is her birthday. And y'all are arguing in front of her.
The audacity that Amber was expecting an apology to her from Gary? What does Gary have to apologize to her for? Asking her, what are you apologizing to her for? And then Amber's reassurance to her own daughter is to reassure her that she's fine. That she is okay to come here and stir up all this drama to come here and make everyone else feel uncomfortable. I'm okay, honey. No worries. Don't even check on your daughter. Don't even physically touch her when you act like you're reaching out to touch her. We're going to put the video up because I was like, she was this far away from even touching her back. And then she rang her fingers in her little curls for a moment. But I'm telling you, the reason she did not touch her daughter at that moment is because she knew that Leah would turn around and say, don't effing touch me. And then Amber would not be able to blame all of this on Gary, even though everybody in the world knows that Amber is the only one wrong. I've never been so angry watching a Teen Mom show. This was it for me. She's trash. I'm done.
It was infuriating to watch. And she's done so many horrible things. I do not know how she's kept her spot and other people have lost their spots.
I know.
But she has done horrible thing after horrible thing. She has got to be on something. Allegedly, I'm alleging that there was something not right with her. Even when she was talking, it was all slurred and weird and nothing was making sense. The whole sarcasm thing. I get what she was trying to say, but the way she was saying it made it sound like she was just calling her daughter.
Teenagers are sarcastic. And Leah made the exact point. At least I have self-control. There's one thing where you can have some sarcastic banter and a teenager can maybe step outside of their boundaries on accident with a parent, and it is their job to put them back into their boundaries and where they're supposed to be, but not in a disrespectful way. You don't elevate it. You don't escalate it and make it worse. You just say, hey, don't take it that far. Don't talk to me like that. It's just to call your kid openly things like a dickhead and tell them the things that she said to her on her birthday in front of another child who has never been exposed to this kind. I mean, I'm sure she's heard language before, but she doesn't hear this in her everyday life at home. Her parents don't talk to each other like this. This is just completely insane. And the fact that Amber can sit there and act like she's the one in the right and has done nothing wrong, has nothing to apologize to anyone for. She should be apologizing to little poor Emily for the things that she's got to be subjected to at this dinner. It's just awful. That she's just disgusting.
It was horrible. And Leah, in the same restaurant where she was following Amber to the bathroom, asked Christina to go to the bathroom with her so she can get the F away from Amber. And her, Emily, Christina all walk off to the bathroom. And it seems like, I don't know if they were planning on actually leaving the restaurant at that point. But Gary and Amber have one last exchange. It didn't go very well. And Amber was just starting to pop off again on him. Like, oh, he's trash, as he's trying to walk out and leave.
Well, Leah was in the bathroom and she was still mic'd up. And she told Christina, I don't think I want to open presents. And I'm sure Christina texted Gary while they were in the bathroom and said, we'll meet you in the car. Grab the stuff because we're not doing this. And then even still, Amber has the audacity to sit there and basically say, well, Leah gets to go home now. It's like, what do you mean by that? Are you thinking that she is supposed to be punished for her behavior or something here? Like, you are the one who has done everything wrong here. Nobody wants to be near you anymore.
Well, she also thought Leah could start her homework at 9:00 at night. So Amber has no concept of anything.
She's never parented a child past 18 months old. She has no capacity or any idea of what it's like to have a school-age child.
I'm sorry, so she probably showed up at that dinner at 5 o'clock, right? And Gary was talking about leaving at like 6. So she already spent an hour with her crazy ass. And then she's like trying to have them spend more than 3 hours at a restaurant because mind you, they got there at 3:15. So if they're leaving at 6,
I
they've
mean,
been there
there
for
she's
3
gotta
hours.
only be like, I don't know, 5, 6, maybe 7. You can't have a small kid at a restaurant for more than 2 hours. 3 hours is severely pushing it. I mean, they were lucky they had that whole space up. It looked like they
Right.
had, a whole room upstairs or something. But
If Amber is trying to be there till 9 o'clock, from 5 to 9 or 8 or whatever the case is, 5 to 8, you're asking these people to sit at a restaurant from 3:15 to 8 p.m. 5
and if
hours, and then
anything, like, just hop your ass in the car with them if you wanna spend more time. Go back there and help her with her homework at home. You're always welcome at their house. She's been there millions of times, ate dinners. It's
she
not
didn't
like
drive
she
there.
Well, that's what I mean. Hop in the car with them and then get your ass an Uber from Gary's house. I'm very much done with her.
And the flip side of that too, this restaurant, if they took off that whole top area just for them to film and stuff, and you're laid on top of that, this place is losing money just for these people to sit up there,
Right.
wait for you. And then you want it to go on until 8 or 9. If I owned that place, I'd be kicking you guys out. I don't even
Again,
care
like
who
the
ET is.
self-centered nature of Amber's brain. This is your brain on drugs. I mean, it's gotta be on something, some kind of
I
drug.
haven't heard many people call her this, but like, I just think she's a narcissist.
She's
a
certainly
bit.
self-centered. That's definitely a check in a box in that direction. I know she has bipolar or borderline or both. I know borderline can come with a lot of self-centered tendencies. So if she has borderline, that's probably why she's not diagnosed as a narcissist, because those are 2 separate personality disorders and you can only have one. But she's got some kind of personality disorder. That is a fact. That is the cold, hard fact.
We'll be seeing a lot more of it, I'm sure, with the coming up episodes. The previews look pretty spicy. It just seems like a lot's going to be happening.
Following up on Amber's and her story to come, it seems like Leah is going to be trying to move forward in some way, shape, or form. I don't know if it really goes all the way through, but she's going to be talking about having Christina adopt her, which I think is a fantastic idea, because after this birthday situation, and I wonder if this is part of what triggered it. After this, I just think about, I know you want your mom at those special occasions, like in adulthood, like graduation and your wedding and having your first child and things like that. But Christina's really the one that's been there the whole time. And I feel like the only reason everyone keeps pushing Amber on Leah is because that's her mom. And I feel like if she were to just really cut ties and say, Christina is my mom, this is who I want, she's not going to feel that pressure as an adult to have to include Amber and all these things. Of course, she'll probably invite her, but Christina, I think, is going to take in that role forever of being.
Yeah.
I mean, how could she not? Amber is just so highly incapable of caring for anyone but herself, and she doesn't even care for herself. Let's be real.
I remember I used to see her lives at like 3 in the morning.
She is unhinged, that woman, completely unhinged.
Yeah. Her hostage video alone, she should have got adopted right after that. Making Leah watch that hostage video, I would have adopted her myself. So we'll see you next time, Chick Chatters.